Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as you probably are aware, I've been going through a series of presentations, video presentations I'm creating for the Rankin Technical College, AWD, that's Application and Web Development, 1111.NET Framework with Web Databases class. The main book we're using for that class will be ASP.NET MVC with Entity Framework and CSS by Lee Naylor, as you can see here. It's a 628-page book. It's a well-written book. It's got a lot of code in it. Unfortunately, that at least at times, the number or the explanation of the code is a little bit lacking. So I've decided before going over that book, I will first go over this book by John Galloway of Microsoft and others, called Professional ASP.NET MVC5. That book basically is predicated on the MvcMusicStore, which is a series of 10 articles from Microsoft. And I've done the first, presentations on the first 9, and really until I got up to about the membership and authorization rather, first 6 parts went pretty well. I didn't do much on part 7. I had some issues with part 8, and part 9 it started to really go to hell. But I am, just for completeness, I am going to finish this. As it says, we have completed the major functionality for our site, but we still have some features to add to the site navigation, the home page, and the store browser page. We want to expose the number of items in the user's shopping cart across the entire site. So, as you can see, so at any time we can tell whether or not, what's nice about this is I know that I have items in the cart, regardless of where I am. And that is a nice thing, it really and truly is. So I know that I probably, if I want them, I'm going to have to check out. We can easily implement this by adding a partial view, which is added to our site.master. As shown previously, the shopping cart controller includes a cart summary action method, which returns a partial view. To create the cart summary partial view, click on the View's Shopping Cart folder and select Add View. Name it Cart Summary. If you're following along, thank you. I'm on page 4 of the 14-page handout here. So again, I want to sorry. Really, I'm on the bottom of page 3. So we want to right-click on the Views Shopping Cart folder. So here's our views. There is our shopping cart folder right there. Right mouse click, select Add View. We're supposed to name this Cart Summary once it comes up. See it spinning, thinking about it. Make sure we've got the box checked for Create a Partial View. Alright, it looks like empty without model will work okay. And not much in there, alright, because of the way it was created. The cart summary partial view is really simple. It's just a link to the shopping cart index view, which shows the number of items in the cart. Alright, so they show, as always in our handout, they show the code. Okay, now we may get errors in here because it doesn't know where any of this stuff is. that'll help or hurt or do nothing, and I guess it does nothing. Now, could this be because of that? Let's see. Could be. That might be why we got the error to begin with. Okay. We can include a partial view in any page in the site, including the site master, by using the html.renderAction method. RenderAction requires us to specify the action name, which is cart summary, and the controller name, which is shopping cart. Right here. All right. Before adding this to the site layout, we will create the genre menu so we can make all of our site.master updates at one time. Okay. Creating the genre partial view. I'm on page 5 of 14. We can make it a lot easier for our users to navigate through the store by adding a genre menu, which lists all the genres available in our store. Well, that's them there. We will follow the same steps also to create a genre menu partial view, and then we can add them both to the site master. First, add the following genre menu controller action to the store controller. So let's go. Let's find our store controller. I know it's not here. I'm just trying to do a little cleanup work right now. There's our store controller. Then down at the bottom. Okay, we added that. This action returns a list of genres which will be displayed by the partial view which will be created next. Note here we have added the child action only. This indicates that we want this action to be used from a partial view. This attribute will prevent the controller action from being executed by just browsing to /store/genre menu. This isn't required for partial views, but it's good practice. All right. Then next we are to right mouse click on the genre menu controller action and create a partial view named genre menu, which is strongly typed using the genre menu class. So it says here this should be a list, and the model class should be genre menu. Again, I've had mixed success with this. Notice it is created as a partial view. There it is. Update the view code to display the items in an unordered list as shown on the bottom of page 7 in our handout. Alright, so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to grab that code that's shown here, copy it to the clipboard, remove all of the code I currently have in here and replace it with this. We can add our partial views to the site layout, which is /views/shared/_layout.cshtml by calling html.renderAction. we will add them both in as well as some additional markup to display them as shown below. So I think that this is under Views, Shared, _ Layout. Now it looks as though, when I'm looking at what's here, it looks as though they've got the entire thing shown on page, it takes up most of page 8. So I'm just going to grab all of it, copy that to the clipboard, paste that in. I don't see any errors, which is always a good thing. Now when we run the application, we will see the genre in the left navigation area and the cart summary at the top. Well, let's see if indeed that's the case. So we'll go to our shopping cart index. Again, I was getting errors running these, but we'll see what happens. View in browser. I am now up to page 9 of 14. I've got to add a little bit more code. Again, this is very, very frustrating. All right. They're telling me I should maybe do a code first migration to update the database. Let's try that and see if this is indeed going to clear anything up. It may not. Add -migration updates. I don't know. Probably should have saved and built first, but that's okay. Update database. Okay, good. Let's rebuild the solution. And I want to come up to my output here. Make sure that that's clean. It is. So let's one more time right mouse click and choose View in Browser. Again, I may very well still get errors. There may be reconciliation problems in here. Again, a lot of it going back to the problems I had with Chapter 7. So if you notice here, there's too many of these. This is wrong. Look at that. I really wish I could fix that. I'm not sure what the problem is, though. But notice if I go to rock, yeah, there's an error. Okay. But it is showing me how many are in my cart. Let's see if we do go into I'm just trying to see what's happening now. Okay, there we go. So the store manager details works. I can go to my shopping cart. There's nothing there, but when I go to checkout now, it's still telling me that can't be found. And it says checkout address and payment is not there. It is there. And its name changed or is temporarily unavailable. Let's quickly look at checkout and see if we've got an address and payment there. You can see it right there. So there was our address and payment. It sure looks like it's there to me. All right, but it's not finding it. All right, jump back into here. Let's close this. The store browse page is functional, but it doesn't look very good. We can update the page to show the albums in a better layout, by updating the view code found in the browse, MvcStore browse as shown. So let's go and do that. Jump over again to Views, Store, Browse. Views, Store, Browse. And again, it looks like they want us to replace all of it here with that. So that's done. Here we are making use of the URL action rather than an HTML action link, so we can apply special formatting. We are going to display a generic album cover for these albums. And it says the information is stored in the database and is editable via the store manager. So it's going to be very generic as far as the pictures of the albums. I don't know if that error is going to go away once we save and run this or not, but we're going to try it. Yeah. Well, you've seen this several times before. The sequence contains no elements. So I can go there. I've now got these, but it's up to 50. This is ridiculous. But when I try to browse, which is what I wanted to do, then I get that error. All right. Looks like just about the last thing that we are to do here. Maybe a couple more things. Next, we're supposed to update the home page to show the top-selling albums. We want to feature our top-selling albums on the home page to increase sales. We'll make some updates to our home controller to handle that and add in some additional graphics as well. First, we'll need to add a navigation property to our album class so that the entity framework knows that they're associated. The last few lines of our album class should now look like this. Let's bring up that album class. If you are following along, I'm on page 10 of 14. This is what was supposed to come up when we did our store browse. All right. It says here we should have a genre too, so I guess we could try that, but I don't think it's going to work. So genre equals, yeah, I know it's giving me that. Should try to run it again. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I should just let it run and not go in and add code while it's attempting to load. Add to this. All right, so that's the home page. Store, browse, genre equals rock. And you can see what I'm getting. Darn it. I tried to find a working copy, and they have a bunch of it out there on GitHub, but virtually everything that's out there said that it was back in version 3. Then I went online, just so you see this. I'm just trying to be complete here because we're just about finished. And I went out to YouTube and I checked for MvcMusicStore right there. And so I said, well, look, there's a whole bunch of these by this, and it's a year old. I thought, well, that's good, right? So I went out here and looked.
Machine. Give me a second to pull it up.
And listen to what he says at the beginning.
This morning we're going to be working on the beginning portions of the MvcMusicStore assignment. In order to begin, you are going to want to download the tutorial PDF. This is a step-by-step tutorial developed by Microsoft good half decade ago or so. I think the date on it is 2011, if I remember correctly. I have a copy that I've already downloaded right here on my machine. Give me a second to pull it up on the screen. And just want to make sure I'm also, I guess, looking at the right version. You know what? I'm going to pull down right from the website here. And I really don't want to look at it through my browser. I really prefer to use Acrobat, so I'm just going to drop it on my desktop here. Close this tab, and then pull it up directly from here. Oh, of course, right back to the browser. Okay. Let's just drop to the desktop and find it. Okay. So hopefully you guys have this up on screen too. I mean, you can follow along with what I'm putting up on the screen, but I'm going to be mostly looking at code in the screen, I think. But I am stepping through this page by page all the way through. If you actually go all the way to the end of the document, you're going to see that it's 130 some pages total of instructions. Now, granted, there are some like title pages and indexes and
So the bottom line is the gentleman comes in a little bit and he says, in order to get this to work, you've got to be using MvC3. Well, I didn't want to do that. All right, so now when I browsed the genre, this is what's supposed to come up when I went to rock. Should have shown me the generic page and all the rock albums. You note that it didn't. All right. So we're supposed to update the home page to show the top selling albums. Again, this is the bottom of page 10. So I want to make sure that this is inside of the album class. So let's go back here. And let me just whip this up here very quickly. Public, virtual, genre, we got that. Public, virtual, artist, we've got that. Public, virtual, list, order, detail, well, that we don't have. All right, so that's in there now. Says this will require the using statement. I've already got that in there. Now, now that we're coming to the end here, one thing I wanted to mention, because like I said, we're just about at the end. These things that are gray in here, this means they are not being used. So I can go and grab on the light bulb and say remove unnecessary usings, and now they're gone. Many people think you ought to do that because it makes your code cleaner. There's less code bloat. You're not adding that stuff in, and if you need it, you can always add it back later. All right. Okay. It says first we'll add a stored DB field and the MvcMusicStore.models using statement as in our other controllers. Next, we will add the following method, it says here, to our home controller. All right? Let's add it, then come back and take a look at it. So, jump down to the bottom here. Okay, there's that. So what does it say we're doing? It says we'll add a store DB field and the MVC Music Store models using statement. Well, I don't have that, which might be why this isn't working. Nope. should have been at the end, not at the beginning. There we go. Again, everybody's different when they do this stuff. See that? Some people like to put it at the beginning. Some people don't like to put it at the beginning. And really and truly, in the end, it's not that big a thing one way or the other. All right. Again, notice I've got two in here that look like they are not being used. So I can remove them. Boom, they're gone. All right. So looking at this, and I'm just looking at the text that's down below this in the middle of page 11. This is a private method because we don't want to make it available as a controller action. We are including it in the home controller for simplicity, but you are encouraged to move your business logic into separate service classes as appropriate. With that in place, we can update the index controller to query the top 5 selling albums and return them to the view. We can update the index controller action of our home controller. So, which right now isn't doing very much, as you can see. So we'll change that to this. There we go. So on page 12, the entire page shows the updated home controller. Mine should be actually correct because it shows this under the index, and then it shows this over here. I'm getting an error message, which is never good, but so it says the complete code for the updated home controller is shown there. So according to this, they're removing the contact page and they're removing the about page. Instead of removing them, let's just come in here and let's comment all of that out. All right. All right. Turning up to page 13 of 14 is, again, we're making our way towards the end here. So that's the complete code. So I commented out the stuff for the contact page and the about page. Finally, we need to update our home index view, okay, so that it can display a list of albums, updating the model type and adding the album list at the bottom. So I believe what they're showing here on page 13 right here, that is the updated code for the home index view. So let's go throw that in there. All right, so under views, home, index, well, there's not much in there now. There, no, we've got a little more. It's not showing any errors, which is always a good sign. And then finally, on page 14, as we've reached the last page, now when we run the application, we should see our updated home page. Now, is that going to happen? Well, you know as well as I do, probably not. It says there were errors. You've seen this before. The name does not exist in the current context. Well, I don't want to have a new field. Okay, it's funny because then when you click off of it, the error goes away. I've never understood that. But then if I run it again, I think the error comes back. All right. And we also got an error here. Incomplete.cshtml line 1 doesn't like that line. just going to keep it like that. All right, that should, no, maybe not. I thought that would, it's a namespace, but it's being used like a type. All right. I'm wondering if that'll remove all the errors except that one. There it is. The name StoreDB does not exist in the current context. You've seen this error before. Now, sometimes this can be fixed, but I've got that here. See, I want to say something like album, but it's going to give me an error when I do that. So, it's not like that. Since it says here it does not exist, that means it's not finding, it is not finding StoreDB. StoreDB has been fine. You know, that's our database context. That's been put in a few different places. All right. Try this. My guess is this is not at all going to do what I want it to do, but what the heck. Let's run this again. Get our error message. So I'm going to come into here and I'm going to put in this line. Like I said, I don't think that's going to do what I want it to do, but I'm going to try it anyway. All right, as I finish this up, this is the home page now. I may get an error message here. Somehow it would be sort of fitting with all the problems that I've hit. There it is. Okay, so there we've got it. Okay, this is still wrong. Okay, I can go to the admin area, or can I go to the admin area? We'll see. Okay, I can go to my cart. I can go to my store. Where it says here, browse genres, this is what should be showing. This shouldn't even be here anymore. So where it says here, browse genres and select from 50 genres, I should see if I can find where that code is and, oops, and remove it. All right, that would make sense. Because again, not from the store, but from just localhost here. See, that's correct. And that's coming up every time. So that's what should be up there. All right. So it says, we've seen that ASP.NET MVC makes it easy to create a sophisticated website with database access, membership, Ajax, etc. pretty quickly. Hopefully this tutorial has given you the tools you need to start building your own website, etc. Well, again, mixed bag, as I've said. Now, I've already done other tutorials here, so I do want to mention here. Let's see. Older versions. I'm going to just go to here. There we go. Versions getting started. Is that it? There we go. All right. So if you go out to right here, make this bigger so you can read it. So again, if you go out to this URL that's going to go on the top of the screen in just a minute, basically to docs.microsoft.com/en-us/ASP.NET/MVC/overview. In fact, I think if you just go to the overview without even the getting started that's in there, all right, the first thing that's under there is the getting started. All right, there is a series of 3 different tutorials in here. The first is called Getting Started with ASP.NET MVC. The second is called Getting Started with EF6 using MVC5. And the last one is called EF Database First with ASP.NET MVC. All right, what I have done is I've already created a list of, or a series of video presentations on this that works. All right. What I should do is go back and probably add some seed data. It's a very simple application, but it's designed to get you started with MVC5. So I've done that one. Then I went down to the third one, and I did this. And I got it to work. So I've got both of those. I did not go out to this one. This one literally has with it a PDF, and I just wanted to show you that. Stop this. Save this mercifully. Exit from here. All right, and this one, so again, this is my plan. It's an evolving plan. On day 1, we're going to do a lot, and I mean a lot, of software installation. All right. If there's any time left after that, we're going to go over this MVC for Noobs document. Then this MS from Microsoft ASP.NET MVC overview. It's only 3 pages long. And then there's a picture that kind of goes with it. We'll go through that. Then an absolute beginner's tutorial on ASP.NET MVC for web forms developers. You're not web forms developers, but it'll give me a chance to explain what web forms are. Then I'm going to go over this PowerPoint presentation from the book we used a year ago. Why? Because the book has 25 chapters in it, and the last chapter, or chapter 25, is on MVC. Then we've got the movie store, which we just finished. All right. After that, we're going to go through this getting started. We're going to go through this entire 11-step process that's right here. We're going to rebuild this. Not much to it, but I just want you to see it. So if I go down, let's go to views here, and let's go to movies, and we'll go to index, and let's just view this in the browser. Like I said, only a single table in here to my knowledge, but it's kind of cool. There it is. You can see there's, 5 movies in here, and I can even filter. In other words, I want to see just Westerns. Boom. And there's my Westerns. All right, I can go back to all, and I can filter again. I want the title to have, I don't know, an O in it. Anywhere, an O. So I filter Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Rio Bravo, Rio Bravo. What's not in there? Well, the 5th movie, When Harry Met Sally. Okay? So there's, again, it's a very simple application. There's nothing in the about. There's nothing in the contact. Okay? It's just the regular stuff that you get. So we will go and build that as a class. All right? Again, I have this EF database first with MVC working. That's a series of 7, I believe it is, 7 documents. And I can show you that one. And let's view that one in the browser. This works with the Contoso University database product. So I can edit an individual record. So instead of Donnie, I want that to be Donald. Put a middle name in there of Robert. All right, notice how it's changed. I can look at the details. Those are the classes that he's taken. I can delete the record if I want to. I'm not going to, but you get the idea. I'd like to build both of those applications as a class to get us in the mood, whatever you want to call it. All right. The last one that's in there, the one with 12 articles, the one that's called Getting Started with EF6 using MvC5. All right. 12 articles, and they're pretty big. And if you take a look in here, you'll notice with the associated PDF, it is 292 pages. All right. That pretty much will do it for talking about this. When I come back, I'm going to start going through this textbook, and I'll be back with that shortly.